Hi guys, welcome to your first lab flip video of the year. This is a density lab, and there are two different parts. So part one is going to use this cube and this cylinder, and you've got instructions, and this section is called calculating the density of regular shaped objects. The best way to be successful on this particular lab is to follow the steps one at a time and check off each step as you've done it. If you do that, you'll make sure you don't skip anything, and this will even tell you, record the information in the data table, which is right here. So if you're following the steps, recording when it tells you to, you should have no problem making your density calculations for the object. So you'll each have a cube, they'll all be different, and you're going to measure them. Remember, we use the centimeters. These are supposed to be 1-inch cubes, which should come out to about 2.5 centimeters, but measure yours to make sure. And then you're going to write those numbers down, calculate your volume. You can use calculators for that. Then, after you've measured, you will put the object on the triple beam balance and take the mass. And you had some practice at that today. I think most of you have got that skill down pretty well now. Remember to put the sliders all the way to 0 before you start for an accurate measurement. Then you're going to do a similar thing with the cylinder. Cylinders have a kind of complicated volume formula, which you probably haven't learned in math yet. So we've pre-done some of the numbers for you. So you shouldn't have any problem doing this. Again, if you follow all the steps, it'll tell you exactly what to do. And then once you have calculated the density of these objects, we'll put a chart up on the Smart where you can figure out what they are by their density, and that's the whole point of the TEK, is to identify the unknown objects by calculating their density. So that's why your calculations are so important. So make sure that you are doing that. And then part two, we're going to actually practice displacement. This is something we're going to be learning about, but sometimes we have an object that is just a weird shape, like this lead sinker right here, or this weight. And it's hard to tell the density because there's really no formula for this. So that's when we use displacement. And your instructions are going to tell you to put some water in the graduated cylinder. And you need to know how much you start with. So we're going to put in 50. And that looks pretty close. And then, back up. Before you go ahead and do that, but then take the mass of this object. You don't want to take the mass while it's wet because it won't be accurate. So take the mass of the object, write it down. Again, if you're following your instructions, it says write the name of your object down, then measure the mass, then put the water. So follow your steps, check off each one as you do it, and you'll be less likely to have issues. Now, displacement works like this, though. This is the really important part. You take the object that you want to find the volume of. You look on your graduated cylinder. I've got 50 milliliters in here. Yep, 50. I drop the object in. Now, if you drop metal and glass, it would break, so you'll be using plastic. But the water moved up. In other words, the volume displaced the water, pushed it into a new place, and now we can read the measurement here, and we know this is the water plus the object, so if we subtract what we started with, we will know the actual volume of this object. And that calculation is laid out for you in the data chart. So if you fill it in step by step as you've been instructed to do so, you're not going to have any problem. Here, let's get a close-up of that so you can see. You'll write the before water, the after water, and then you'll subtract. I even put on here what you should do, subtract. So everything's laid out for you, and hopefully that'll help. And of course, we'll be here to answer questions. Then you'll find the density by doing your basic density calculation. You have a couple questions to answer. This is going to be the homework part of this lab, is to make a bar graph. Because this is the first one we've had you do on your own. I'm going to make you identify your independent and dependent variables. And here's all your instructions. Use 1 bar for each item. This says cube, but for each item that you did. Make sure you put on your title. Make sure you label your axes and include units if you need them. So this will be the homework part, and you'll turn this in for a grade. And you got a couple questions at the bottom there, okay? If you have issues when you're trying to do the questions or the bar graph, come to tutoring, and we'll be happy to help you sort that out. And you can also go back and look at your graphing notes that we took about a week or so ago and those should help you as well. And those are posted on Canvas if you can't find yours. And finally, the secret word for today is phenomenon.